So I would like for us to dive straight into this analysis. It's an eye-opener. So stay glued to your screen. Take a look.
There was a quite a large demonstration of Ambazonians. And yourself, you're in U.S. I see more activism on part of your government and the leadership here. What I want to ask first is, what was U.S.'s position on the Declaration of the Restoration of Independence first, and what have you been able to achieve here in Washington? Have you been able to speak to different leadership? What's going on?
U.S. has one of our largest population of refugees and asylees and our population in the diaspora. This fight has been going on even long before the restoration of our independence. We have been making frantic efforts to reach the State Department, to reach the White House and other powers that be within this country. But the initial position of the United States was like it is. You know, the international community don't really cherish the idea of, even though we were an independent nation, just the fact that we agreed to join another nation, they don't want to hear that, well, even if it's not good for us, we want to reaffirm our separate identity. They still look at that as some kind of secession. So their position was, first of all, to look at it as an internal affair of an existing country, which is their ally in many ways. But as the atrocities increase, and we are able to bring these atrocities to the knowledge of the U.S. government, this is a country that has institutions, values, and laws.
Zero chances.
Okay. So this is what happened. Like I told you guys, it's been 7 years. I'm coming into this issue with a fresh mind. And so with that, I'm able to analyze based on the information or the data that I have available and arrive at my own conclusion. One thing that is staggering about this analysis we are doing today is that you will realize that I said this in another video, that Cameroon will win Ambazonia every time because of the bilateral relationships that Cameroon has with other nations. Okay, this video is going to open your eyes, because one thing I like about this video is that I know our people. When we are within ourselves, there are some certain things we won't say. But when we meet a white man, we open up. So that is why I want you to pay attention to this video, because I've seen it multiple times. You understand what I'm saying? We will open up when we meet a white man. When we see the color of their skin, we will open up. From the very start of my analysis, like with what I do when I'm analyzing a problem that a business is dealing with, I get the available data. I don't need to be in the problem or in the business. I don't need to be part of that company. All I have to do is get the data. And from that data, you can be able to understand exactly what is going on. And that is exactly what we'll be doing today. Because when you look at the data and you come up with a hypothesis, which is the next step after we evaluate data, you then come up with hypothesis, and then you put that hypothesis to test. If the results are not accurate, then you don't have sufficient data. You go get more data, which is exactly what we will look at our nation today as a company with a problem or a nation with a problem. And then we are going to look for the data that is available. And then we'll be able to come up with hypothesis. And then you realize that we will get to different conclusions. We will deduce the data, we'll come up with hypothesis, and then we'll arrive at the conclusion that is going to give us perspective. That is simple. That is why we can fix the problem in Cameroon so easy. Like I'm saying it, and I'll say it again. Within 2 years, if you guys share this content, be part of this movement, like, comment, we are going to be able to have a conversation with the president of Cameroon within 2 years. maximum. What most of these leaders have not been able to do for 7 years, and many people have lost their lives just to sit on a table with the president and have a conversation, which is very, very easy to do. I'm giving you 2 years. The reason why we are taking 2 years is because of the damage that has been done. If there was no damage at all, this is a matter of months. We can do this. And it is very, very easy. Through this video, you're going to watch how I look at data, how I analyze the facts, and then you see my conclusion or the hypothesis that I'll present, and then you realize, it is easy for us to get there. So one thing you realize is, from the very beginning, I talked about the bilateral relationships, and people just ignored it and say, what do you mean by that? No, the nations today, they are blocked, right? They are blocked, and he's saying it. One thing that I find fascinating is that Sako went to this interview. He knew all of this by 2018 and did not tell you guys that they went to the United Nations, they went to Washington, D.C., and they told them that there is no way you can separate that nation. It's an impossibility because they are looking at this issue as an internal issue. And not only that, Cameroon is an ally with the UN, ECOWAS, AU. There is no way you can come into Nigeria and try to attack Cameroon. There is no way you can go to Chad and try to attack Cameroon. This is how nations are connected today. And the whole idea is to move forward. So all these small groups that come out of many nations and think maybe we can separate, it is not that easy. If some people have succeeded in the past with this, not today, not in 2023. Are you guys following what I'm saying? Almost everywhere in the state, every nation that they have visited has told them, go fix that problem. There is no way for you guys to carry on or continue with this separation. And they will tell their truth. They will tell the truth when they meet the white folk. But when they meet you, a fellow black man, a fellow Cameroonian, they will tell you otherwise. Don't worry, we will get it. Let's keep trying. Let's push hard. That is exactly what they will tell you. One thing I'm excited about this video is because coming across this data, I never knew this, but it tells me about my instinct and my strategies of analyzing data to understand that I don't need to really be in the problem to understand the problem. And most of these people, guys, they are sick. You see what I'm saying? What I mean sick is they are struggling with the issues of the past. They find it hard to reconcile the past and be able to pave a compelling future for their people or for themselves. That is what they are struggling with. And this is the thing, guys. America, Canada, Britain, all those great nations, they are our big brothers. Whatever we are experiencing in our evolutionary journey, whatever we are experiencing in this journey of evolution, they have experienced a similar situation in the past and they handled it. And so when they give you advice and say, don't do it, it is not possible to do it. It's because they have experience. And so if you leave those meetings and you think you can continue with what you have in your head, good luck with that. Let's keep watching.
That has institutions, values, and laws.
Zero chances. When yet we have young people in their 30s, 20s, 40s, 50s who can fight for humanity, fight for Ambazonia. And they are the people trying to dissuade others to lay down their arms and surrender. In this world, somebody would always have to fight for somebody. Somebody, listen to me, would always have to fight for somebody. Let me tell you something, comrades. I am here in this struggle not because I have something on ground zero that I want to go and pick. Zero, nothing. I don't even have a family house on ground zero. I have nothing, literally nothing on ground zero that I'm thinking the war is over, I go and pick over there. No, nothing. I am just doing this hoping. When I was growing up, reading the history of Ambazonia, the Southern Cameroons, I was looking for an opportunity, a day, a moment like this one. Those who on the road, those who know me from secondary school, high school.
You hear that? When he was growing up and reading the history of Southern Cameroon, he was looking for an opportunity like this one. Does it ring a bell? It's not about the teachers and the lawyers marching and then the government came in and then all of a sudden now we want cessation. No, these ideas have been spread around for a very long time. And this is just a manifestation of a thought that has been in the mind of the people for a very long time. So please spare me that story that the teachers were just marching on the street. Are you hearing this? Are you hearing? I mean, like every Cameroonian, every English speaking Cameroonian, did you hear this? Did you hear this, young people? You're getting into a fight that these people had in their mind for a very long time. Are you hearing this? Open your eyes. That is how we analyze data. And then find a solution that will work. We are not here to experiment. Most of these people live in the West, right? One thing you don't know about the West is there's what they call the radical left in the West. The radical left is the ideology that anything goes. There's no structure. There's no respect. Anybody does as they feel. That is the radical left. And most of our brothers and sisters that travel abroad, they live in communities that spread this kind of ideas. So when they come back home and they are initiating change, following this kind of narrative, and it's not working, right? It's not working for the West. It's not. Like, it's the kind of narrative that, oh, there's no male, there's no female. You see what I'm saying? Gender is based on how you feel. All of these radical left ideologies, oh, let's go back to the past and look at what people did wrong, colonization and all that idea, that is radical left. Are you understand what I'm saying? And then there is the right. There are people who are trying to preserve values. People who believe that we should have men and women in a community. There's nothing like anybody is a gender or you are a gender based on how you feel. That kind of narrative doesn't work with the right. You see what I'm saying? But the left believe that. They believe that everything goes. They believe that it's okay for your wife to just divorce you like that and you're in pain and all of that. They don't care. You see what I'm saying? They don't try to fix a problem that you have in your relationship. Everything goes. That is the radical left. And most of those people buy that idea. They live around Washington and Maryland. Those are places where these ideas are being spread across the world. You see what I'm saying? That is why it's easy for them to formulate their thoughts following this trend and then embark on the nation with a mission of secession based on an ideology that is premeditated, has been on their mind for a very, very long time. And this is an opportunity for them to manifest that. And it's encouraging the young people to go fight. That somebody has to sacrifice. My question to you is, when you had the opportunity as a young person, hearing this story in high school with your friends, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you rally your friends to go fight? Why didn't you guys start it? You see what I'm saying? I want us to just go gradually and explore this video together, analyze this video together so that you guys will understand exactly what is going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let's keep watching.
Secondary school, high school, and so on, they know what I'm talking about. Growing up and reading the history of the Southern Cameroons and listening people like EML Indele, listening to Abed Mokom, listening to all these guys, I wept in my spirit and I prayed that a day was going to come where I can fight for Ambazonia. And I thank God this day is here. And so I fight not because I want to go back to ground zero to pick something, to recover something. Absolutely zero.
Only to make sure that Ambazonians.
That is very important that you understand that he has no stake on the ground. But you got people, sir. You got your people that you claim you love. They shouldn't be dying. Young children shouldn't be taught to pick up arms and go fight. Please. This is a time for us to reevaluate our decisions. Because if you study the consequences of your decisions, you'll be careful of your actions. If you study the consequence of your decisions, you will be careful of your actions, because studying the consequence, studying the effect of your actions will help you to restructure your decisions. Is that making sense? And that is how we evaluate data. That is why you see people go out there and succeed in business and you think they have magic. No, they just study data. They understand what works. And they stop wasting time with what doesn't work. This thing is not about I'm courageous, I feel so strong, I know I can win. No, that's not what this whole political game is all about. Do you know what you are doing? That is it. It's not picking sound bites of information from some diplomatic review or some historical review. No, you know what you are doing before you even start. Do you have allies? No. Who's working with you? Who agrees with you? You guys have gone to all the offices on earth, and all the nations on earth have told you, go fix that problem. There is no way for us to accept that you secede or you separate from Cameroon. Are you guys hearing that? No. Those people are just bluffing. We'll go back there and tell the people that they should keep fighting. One day we'll get victory. As we keep fighting, people will get sympathy for us. They will sympathize with us, and somehow they will come in and help us. Really? They will sympathize with you, sir. I understand how all these political games work. They will sympathize with you. They will welcome you, but they will not help you. That is the difference. That is the difference. And what you really need is the help. They are not coming. Even Nigeria is not coming. That is a reality that you guys have to come to terms with. It's quite interesting that Sako sat quiet and knew all of this, came back and kept telling the people to go fight. Really? Let's keep listening, guys.
All the Ambazonians are kidnapped, subjected to torture. This alliance wants to make the fate of our political prisoners one of its priorities. We will be designing international campaigns. We will be using other means to bring pressure to bear on both Cameroon and Nigeria to ensure that our prisoners are let go. We will not count on the archaic legal systems of both countries to adjudicate the fate of our people. And if continuous detention of our people is important to both Cameroon and Nigeria, they must also understand we will not be able to guarantee the security of their own citizens in our own land. And so we want to use this briefing to assure our prisoners, wherever you may be, that your faith, your security, your liberty is at the top of our agenda in ensuring that you do not only trade places with your kidnappers, but making sure that you return home in a freed homeland, and to make sure your sacrifices have not gone in vain. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and all Ambazonian prisoners, the Benjis, the KPs, and all the others, the Abdul Karims, the Palmfors and the Tassangs, the Ayuks, we want to let you know that we will make 2024 a year our enemies will never forget as far as our people being detained is concerned. We will not be party to your courts, your justice system, your legal systems, and all the shenanigans that you continue to use to make a mockery of law. So this is another area of focus that this alliance will deal with.
In Kurdistan region.
Okay. So that is very interesting. Right now, what you are listening to is a message coming out of an alliance that was created between the Ambazonian leaders and Biafra. Biafra is another group within Nigeria that wants to secede. They want their own independent nation. they've gone around the world and experienced a similar tragedy. Like that is, no one wants to associate with them. They will listen to them, but no one is coming to give them that independence that they crave. And what is the best decision right now? Partner together. Now, when they come together, what is going to happen is, if you look at the geographical location where these two groups of people find themselves, you will notice that there's Cameroon on the right and Nigeria on the left. And they want war. And they are sending a message saying that both Nigeria and Cameroon should understand that they have their people within their territory. And so if they don't want to release the prisoners of war, they will start killing their people in their region. This is an interesting step that they have taken. And the people of English-speaking Cameroon, please listen. I'm saying this in particular to the Ambazonian fighters. That is why I said, make sure they watch this video from the beginning to the end. Do not miss any part of this video. Any time there is an attack, there is a counter attack. That is why I talked about, when you want to make a decision or you want to take an action, study the consequence. The question you should be asking yourself is, when you launch this attack, what do you think is the hypothetical counter attack of French Cameroon and Nigeria? Think about that very well and make sure that you report to your guys of the possible ramification of the counter attack that might come from Nigeria and Cameroon upon you guys. Every soldier or Ambazonian fighter, please listen, young people. I love you guys so much. And I know that you can achieve the best life in Cameroon if we put our heads together. And stop listening to these old folks. Please, most of the people with these ideas from 45 to somewhere between 65, that is the age group that you find a lot of people with this bitterness and this Ambazonia idea. They are within the ages of, say, 45. I mean, like the hardcore Ambazonia leaders, they are between the ages of, say, 45 to 65. That is the age group. And I understand why they have a certain resentment towards the government. That age group, that particular age group. If you listen to the video about Ninja Mfrundi asking the people, you are saying you want to go fight, can you shoot a gun? You remember that a youth in the crowd said, we will learn how to shoot a gun. These people fall within that age group. Most of these people advocating now, they were within their 20s at the time. What I want you to study is the counterattack. Study the counterattack more than you study the attack that you want to embark on. Study the counterattack. Can you withstand the pressure? And this is what will happen, hypothetically. Because as an analyst, we go into this data and we look at everything, and we're able to help you have perspective so that you think about your decisions and weigh your options. You see what I'm saying? There is a high possibility that when you do that, you're indirectly declaring war. You're declaring war to Nigeria and you're declaring war to Cameroon. Guys, the way Paul Biya chose to handle this problem, he perceives it as an internal conflict. And so there are certain weapons that cannot be released when you have internal conflict. That is why you guys have had some degree of success killing some of the soldiers of some of the armies of Cameroon within the 7 years. When you guys take this to that level, you are declaring war, which indicates that they are going to deploy some of these weapons that are designed just for war. Which means nothing has happened so far. You're saying thousands of people have died. No, war has not really started. Because with what we've been seeing on the news, the French-speaking Cameroonians or the government of Cameroon has not started war on you guys. They will start releasing these weapons. So I just want to present the counter-attack so that you guys get ready. These are the sites that they don't tell you. When they started this whole struggle, they said within 3 months. They said 3 months, you guys will be in Boya. Now it's 7 years. They flip it around after 7 years and say they thought it was going to be 2 weeks. Now 7 years, we are still going. That's how they flip it to keep you fighting. Are you seeing the semantics? Are you seeing the logic that they're using on you? What I want you to remember is war has not yet started. They think that French Cameroon was not prepared. No, French Cameroon is more prepared than you guys. When they introduced the B in Cameroon, the B was a special force that was initiated in Cameroon. In case that something like this arises or something like this come up, they are going to handle the situation with ease. And these soldiers, some of them are your brothers from the English-speaking zone of Cameroon. And they will fight against you because why? Armies have been trained and they have certain rules of conduct and they will act based on the instructions that they are given on them. And I just want to let you know, and some of those brothers and some of those sisters, they know the environment well. They know the environment better. And so what am I saying, guys? Study the counterattack. Bombs will be released. That means many civilians will die in their numbers. If they start releasing bombs in villages, because if they realize that there's a camp where the Amba soldiers reside, it will not only be the effort of the DDR, which the DDR is going to cooperate with the military this time around, is really going to be bad on the. I just have pity for the civilians, because guess what? Bombs will be released this time around. And when that happens, a lot of you will die. Innocent civilians will die in their numbers. In this past 7 years, everything has been handled civilly. Like, you will feel it that this, what has just happened for the past 7 years was a joke. When war is declared, you use different strategies. So I just want you to study the counterattack. With all this number of soldiers in the DDR center that knows everything that you guys have done in the past, understand your strategy, and are working for the military. When you guys meet a French soldier in battle, what you guys do is you kill them. When you kill them, you come on social media and you portray their bodies. Or you show the crowd how you were able to take their uniforms and their guns. Do you know what smart people do? They will try to capture some of those soldiers, get valuable information from those soldiers, and even get those soldiers to work for them as spies. Are you following? You guys don't know how to do that. What the French Cameroon army has done is legendary, which tells me that the soldiers or who is leading the defense force in Cameroon is very smart. You capture the soldiers. Some of them, you don't have to kill all of them. They have the DDR center. When they capture your soldier, they get valuable information from that soldier, and then they are able to attack and destroy your every move. And that is legendary. You guys don't have that. All the soldiers that you've captured from French Cameroon, you've killed them. All of them that you made in battle, you killed them. You didn't use any strategy to extract information to advance your cause. Are you guys following? This is how we analyze situations, guys. Study the counter move. And so when you look at the situation at hand and you imagine what will happen to you when you try what you are attempting right now, immediately they put up this video, they took it down. When the video went live, they took it down. They didn't want to keep it because probably they watched it afterwards and it was frightening to them. But this is what they are going into. They have an alliance with the Biafrans to fight the governments of both countries. You guys have not even experienced Nigeria yet. For 7 years, the smartest people that think they can put their heads together and fight for secession have not been able to have dialogue with the president for 7 years. I'm talking about the smartest Ambazonians who want liberation, who want independence in different parts of the world that they have lived and studied. And so they are smart people. For 7 years, they have not been able to come up with a strategy to have a conversation with the president. Come on, be realistic with this, guys. Just to have a conversation. That is why you go to the Biafrans. Because everybody has rejected you. Instead of you understanding that, let me come back and help my people know the truth so that they can go back and start working, preparing, doing their businesses, looking for opportunities to better their conditions within Cameroon. You come back and say, no, we're going to fight till we die. And the reason is because you are not there. The only time that Chris Ano came online and cried was when the brother died. He could feel the pain of other people losing their loved ones, losing their siblings in the battleground. That is the first time. He has never cried for you guys. He has never cried for you on social media, except when the brother died. I'm following. I'm watching you guys. I'm seeing all this, dude. I'm understanding what you guys are up to. This is the thing, Amber guys. To save your own lives, if you feel like you should really fight, what I'm saying here is not designed to stop you from fighting. If you choose to fight, let me advise you or give you an idea. These leaders are planning to make 2024 worse for everyone. They want to make it a terrible year, of which I think is a promising year. If you guys listen, you see, I think it's one of the best years. You have peace in that nation. Because why? You're listening to what I'm saying here. Ask these leaders. Many of you, you've had multiple presidents within a very short time. We just want 5 of you, 5, just 5, to come down on the ground and fight with us on the battlefield. To advance this fight or take this cause to the next level, we need some general on the ground. Propose that to them. If they refuse to come down, understand that they want to set you up to die and they don't really care. Propose, Amber fighters. See, tell these generals and leaders abroad that we want 5 of you who believe so much in this cause. Come down to Cameroon. Be on the forefront and fight with us. We will fight with you. Propose that to them and listen to what they say. Just be quiet. If you can write in a letter in your WhatsApp groups, send that to them and say, because we are going to this next level after 7 years, we want you on the ground to fight with us. If they say no, drop your guns and understand that they want to set you up and quit all of this. This is coming from someone who understands strategy, understands how business works, understands how politics works, understands how the world works. Propose that and listen to what they say. And then you will know if they really have you at heart. It's not just about the mouth. Everybody can talk, right? Like, oh, I'm for you. I love you. I want the best for you. I'm fighting to see that you succeed. No, I want you to prove it. Show me. Love is not all about talk. It's about action. You cannot just keep talking to a woman, I love you. There comes a time where you have to prove to her that I love you. You will sacrifice some money. You will sacrifice time. You will sacrifice a lot to show to that woman. Ask them to show you love now. You've heard love for the past 7 years. Show me love. Let's fight together. And then listen to what they say. All these activists that believe so much in this cause, tell them, leave those nations where you find yourself. Come down here and fight with us. And just listen to what they say. Yeah.
In Kurdistan region across the world, we had our own referendum for independence. At that time, we had so many different foes and one friend of ours who spoke out. I know that drawing a comparison may be not the best idea, because obviously your situation, your case is quite different from ours. But what other countries are there that you see some friendship in? Who are the biggest foes of your independence and who are the biggest friends of your independence?
Here's the thing. there is the unofficial and the official position of nations. To tell you the truth, everywhere we have entered and we have presented our case clearly as it is, we have had sympathies at the highest levels. But that's unofficial.
You hear that? We've had sympathy, but that is unofficial. These are facts. This has nothing to do with emotion. It has nothing to do with blackleg. It has nothing to do. Everywhere we've gone to, we've had sympathy, but it is unofficial. What does that mean? Most of the people don't accept our idea. They don't recognize us. They don't want us to go the way we are going. That is what he is trying to say. Does that ring a bell? The reason why they've used you young people in this dispensation is because you're hungry for vision. This is a vision-driven generation. We want to do something with our lives. We want to be part of something that makes sense. We want our lives to have meaning and purpose. They did not have that in their time. And this energy, young people around the world are using the same energy to be creative, to build companies and build businesses and follow a common vision for their nation. That is what young people are doing today. That's what we are doing. We are rising up and we are actually blazing the trail, transforming the global economy. And these people sneak in and they're using you as pawns for experiment because you're driven by vision. And that is what I'm trying to help you understand. That when you have this energy, you guys need to be building stuff. And we can all do that together. Build stuff. Change our economy. Don't let this energy be wasted. This is a vision-driven generation. And people will use you for their own purpose, which will end up destroying you. And they will stay alive while you die. Keep listening.
Because officially there are ties and there are interests that come into play, which we have not been able to break through for many reasons. We have nations that if you were just to like us privately, help us privately, and that would be okay, then probably will not have a problem. But officially, there are many things that need to shift. Within the AU, you cannot just get one member nation speaking another language because they are a bloc. Within ECOWAS, you cannot extract one nation to speak another language because that's a bloc. If Nigeria is on the side of Paul Biya, then that makes it difficult to extract one nation out of the ECOWAS to take a position on the issues. And if French is controlling about 2/5 of the nations in Africa within the AU, about 1/5 of them are all from French speaking. Then you find that even right to the Secretary General now of many organizations, you go in there, you see the presence of the French, and the French lobby is not just here in the DC, they are helping them all over the place.
Are you guys hearing that? It is a block. One thing I find fascinating, I mean, this is like the plan of the devil. You get what I'm saying? That Sako knows all of this based on every office that they've gone into. Comes back and keep inciting violence and encouraging the young people to go fight. This is insane. This is insane, young people. This is insane, English-speaking Cameroonians. That he knows all of this and still come on, turn his camera and say, we are going to keep fighting.
So we have not gotten any official recognition of friendship so far. But we have such sympathies that we think that if we build on this, they will be able to get help that will carry our case further into official circles. That's the truth.
President.
He said what? That is the truth. I told you, when our leaders are before white people, they open up. When they come to you, they close up. They will lie. They'll go there. They won't even say things that they have to say. Some of them will come back and only have to tell you different stories and you go along with that flow. when he was in front of this young gentleman. This young man, young enough to be his son even, he opens up and said, that is the truth. Ooh. Guys, I mean, I'm sweating already. Just listen to this. I'm sweating already. So that is the reality. There is no way for you guys to proceed. And he says something very important at the end, which is very important that I highlight. He said, these people welcome us, and what we are trying to do is to get their sympathy. Do you know what that sympathy means? Incite more people to die. Because when more people die, the world is going to rise up and say, hey, what is going on in Cameroon? And they are going to come in. That is why Paul Biya has chosen to address this problem in a civil way. In cases where you realize that there's too much tension, military comes in and try to bring peace. That is how the whole struggle has been fought. Or they realize that the boys are radical in this area, they come in. That has been the strategy that I can observe. But one thing I want you to understand is that these guys know what they are doing to you young people on the ground. They know. And I said in the previous video, it is high time for you to boycott them. You guys did the right thing by saying, hey, we, the Amba fighters, will stop communicating with you or stop taking instruction from you guys if you don't get your act together. Because we had multiple presidents already. And I just want to let you guys know, man, it's that simple. When you see a problem like this, I'm not attached to this emotionally at all. And that's why they are making a lot of mistakes, because they are too emotional. That you will see facts, you knock all of these offices, you go to these companies or all these businesses or all of these organizations, and they tell you the same thing. You come out and tell the people to keep fighting. This is poor leadership. This is poor leadership. Sir, you can still raise these people, inspire these people to be better, to transform their conditions, to think differently, just like you did and left the country. Like I said it, if you think Cameroon is not for you, you can move on with your life wherever you find yourself and never come back. And there are people who genuinely want to make the best out of that nation. Let them keep trying. Your idea is not working. Your solutions are not working. Your strategy is not working. Stop inciting violence. Let our generation thrive. Let us find a vision that we can actually pursue for our own lives. If your time is over, rest. It's okay. We see the world different today.
On October 1st, 2017, the Republic of Ambazonia and your people declared independence. Why?
Thank you for that very important question. We declared the restoration of our independence because we were an independent nation. So in 1961, as a British, United Nations British Trust territory, we were granted independence by a UN General Assembly Resolution 1608, which gave us the possibility of independence and then joining. The reason for the joining was that we were supposed to join either Nigeria or French Cameroon, which had become independent a year before. So they said when they give us the instruments of power on the 1st of October, we should have made a choice to join either Nigeria or French Cameroon because we did not have the resources to be able to govern ourselves. So there was never
the third option, whether if you want to be an independent nation of your own.
There was. This is the jargon they used, because you know that joining is a lot losing your independence, right? So but they said they were giving us independence by joining. So that did not make sense. But anyway, that's what they gave us. But the act of independence is derived by the fact that on the 1st of October, the British, the trust system, the trust authority over our nation came to an end. But we had voted by a UN resolution to join French Cameroon as two equal states. Now, The reason why the UN resolution said it should be a federation of 2 equal states is because we were 2 independent states. If we're not 2 independent, we cannot be 2 equal states. And so, on the 1st of October 2017, the people of Southern Cameroon came out of on the streets, about 2 million plus. The images are there.
Okay, I just want to stop right there and make a comment. Some people have a new language now. They say, no, French Cameroon annexed us. When you listen to people like Sako in front of a white man, they tell their truth. They tell the truth. How can you say annexation when he knows the story that he's explaining right now? Joining as 2 separate states. Does that ring a bell? No. According to the new narrative, we were independent and these people came in and infiltrated our territory. But that is not the narrative. That is what Sako was saying in 2018. He knew all of this. He's not ignorant about what is going on. Are you following? They said we should join. We accepted, we voted, we joined. And sometimes he want to say our brothers and then he missed it and like, oh, to join French Cameroon. And what I'm trying to get us to understand is the facts here. You cannot be emotional with facts. People who are emotional with facts are dangerous. I repeat, people who are emotional with facts will manipulate facts and they are very dangerous. You know the stories. And so far, English-speaking Cameroon, I mean, how did we get to war without ever hearing from the French? We haven't heard the side of the French. You hear a story just from our parents. We've heard this story just from one side and formed our own conclusions and went to war. We've never really heard this story of the formation of this nation from any French citizen or any French notable. We haven't. We've heard this story just from one side. And I detest stories that you hear from one side. Because it is easy for people to keep. They started by telling you guys that, well, we wanted federation. How can you want federation when you were annexed? How can you want restoration when you were annexed? Are you guys following? So when you come under my comments and you begin to say, oh, it was annexation. What do you mean by annexation?
The images are there, the records are there in the press. And we declared the restoration of our independence.
You're calling it restoration of independence,
yes.
But can you also tell us why that you've waited from 1961 to 2017 to declare the restoration of independence then?
I like this boy because he asks very, very interesting questions. If he was a fellow English-speaking Cameroonian that was asking this, you would want to kill them. Because this is a smart young man that thinks. And he puts this man into his toes, and Sako cannot even sit in front of a little young white guy like this and look at him in the eyes. His head is constantly on the ground. Look at someone in the eyes if you're telling the truth and you're confident. This man is young enough to be your child, and you cannot look at him in the eyes when you're talking. Are you understanding? And I've seen this, right, with some of our people. Like, look at people in the eyes. Be confident enough to look at a person in their eyes and tell them how you feel about the situation. Not in the background. Look at him in the eyes. Is he doing that? No. That is someone that want to lead a nation. That is your leader. Twisting stories, know the truth, come back, lie to you guys, and claim that they will make a nation different than what you are in. You want to create something that is worse than what we are in with this kind of thinking. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. Lives have been lost. People have died. People have lost their loved ones, children, mothers, brothers, sisters, husbands, grandmothers, houses, cattle, farms. These things they will never have again. They are gone. We don't know who has died. What they would have become. How they would have helped that nation. They are 6 feet under the ground. They've been shot and killed. If you've had your time in the world and you don't understand what the outcome of other people's life will look like, just let them be. God has a plan for each and every one of their lives. And in due time, they will be who God created them to be. This is sad. Just knowing that you had this information in your mind and you continued with this, I'm disappointed, sir. I'm disappointed. Young people, your parents have failed you. Your leaders have failed you. They have failed you. And keep listening to them indicates that you are screwed. Yes.
Then, what I am trying to ask here is, what are some of the other reasons, the underlying reasons that the people of Ambazonia finally decided that, okay, this is enough, we need to declare independence, we need to be our own nation?
We have been subject to targeted elimination, economic deprivation, despite the fact that we contribute, our nation, our part of the two states contribute more than 60% of the wealth of the whole country. We have been systematically denied, discriminated upon, and then targeted for elimination. The crime. What is the crime?
So, if you hear all of those rhetorics, these folks, their mind is bent on resource. If you ask them, is there any other way you can help the people produce wealth? The only thing that they can think of is resources under the ground. Can you come up with strategies that the people can be able to use their brain and think? The reason why you will let a young person go die is because you don't really think that young person is a resource. The resource in the ground is more important than that young person. Not knowing that what that young person can think and do, if you train them and direct them, they can bring in more than what you have under the ground with their brains. Are you guys following? We got to team up. Young people, we got to team up. We got to team up and boycott from the past generation and create a new future for ourselves. Pave a path that our children will not rise up and see us as failures. And see us as failures repeating the same mistakes our parents or people of this age group are doing. Okay. They've gone to 1961. Some of them have gone to the plebiscite. Some of them denied that there was no meeting on the 12th of July in Fumban, 1961. They've completely denied that there was nothing like that. It was annexation. They sold us, the British sold us to the French. They have all sorts of stories that they've come up with. Whatever that is, I want us to go back to the drawing board. Go back to the drawing board. We want to only go back to 1961. We want to go back to 1945 or 1946 or 1954. Let's go back. I mean, like way back. If you want to dig up the past, go back. And I want us to do that a little bit, guys, and see how we analyze data. Because when the data that you have from 1961 is not working, it's not helping us to solve the problem, or the data you have from the 1945s right up to 1961 is not working, go back. You see what I'm saying? You dig in more to look at the previous data before 1945 or 1954. You go back. And this is exactly what we're going to do. Okay. I want you guys to look at that chart. Please let your eyes be on the screen and observe this with me for a little bit. Let's study. Let's use our brain together. Let's observe this chart. I'm sure you can recognize first on your screen, you will recognize the map. You realize that there is a map of Cameroon. One thing that I want all of you guys to look at is the evolution of that nation. That is what we will study, that data. Cameroon never started in 1961. at the Fumban Constitutional Conference. That is the truth. Because this is the thing, guys. If you have wrong data, you have wrong strategies, and you have wrong solutions, and you are going to end up with the wrong result. So when the data that you've extracted is not working, it's not helping you, because you get the data, their data is 1961. Their hypothesis is we were independent nation. You see what I'm saying? The action is let's restore that independence. So I can deduce from their argument what their entire strategy is all about. Because, okay, we were separate, we were an independent nation, and so guess what? They came and intruded, so they come up with an hypothesis on how to take action to restore that independence. If that data is not helping them for 7 years, let's go back, way back as 1472, when the Portuguese first arrived. I know that the history of saying the Carthaginians came 2,000 years before that, but the earliest memory we have of explorers coming to Cameroon is 1472, when the Portuguese came. Let's look at that. After the Portuguese came, the Germans came in 1884, and they were there from 1884 to 1916. That is about 32 years that the Germans were in Cameroon. Now, one thing I want you to realize is this nation was a nation, a complete nation. French, the people who speak English and French today were one people under the Portuguese, under the Germans. That is our evolution. That is the bitter truth. Stay with me. The Germans left because of the First World War and the Second World War. That's why you hear all these terms: mandate, trusteeship, independence. It came within that era. Now, France was in Cameroon in 1916 to 1960. The British, that is Britain, was there from 1916 to 1961. Okay. So that is approximately 44 years or 45 years with the English-speaking Cameroonians. One thing I want you to realize on that graph, on that chart, is from the time the Portuguese came to the reign of the Germans, it's approximately 444 years that we have been together as a nation. I want you to look at this idea of marriage that they are explaining. You know that when you come into a marriage, guys, you don't just come into that marriage and say you're going to do things the way you've always done your whole life and you're just going to maintain your own safe space. And it doesn't work like that. How many of you are married? Some of you are married. Did you get married to your wife and said everything goes into that marriage, or your wife came in and said everything goes, or you said everything goes? No, you guys had some structure. Because some of the words that we've heard thrown around is this word of assimilation, annexation, colonization. All of these words are not bad words. Come on, look at you. Today you speak English or you speak French, and majority of the world can understand you when you express yourself. Is that not a gift to you? What language would you have been speaking? And how many people will understand that language? How would you be interacting with the world with your native language that you still prioritize till today? After 444 years, we have not changed from some old traditional practices. Are you seeing what I'm saying? That's our real problem. Because what we are dealing with, guys, before we analyze and keep going, but let me reason this with you guys. The thing is, we are all patients, right? Sick people that have a problem. When you go to a doctor when you're sick, sometimes you might think, oh, your stomach is hurting, and so you need aspirin, or your head is aching, you need Tylenol, or you need this medication. And the doctor looks at it and say, that's not really what you're sick of. Your head might be aching, but you are not actually struggling from headache. It might be another problem in your body. It might be another problem in your system. And if we treat that system, this headache will go away. and you think that no, it's headache. The headache that I'm feeling because I feel pain in my head, so it's headache. No, something might be causing a malfunction in your body that is causing your head to ache. And so if we treat that, your head will be fine. And you will travel to all of these offices and they tell you, no, go find a way to fix your problem. Change your mind, repent, change your thinking, walk with your president and fix that problem. You can throw your whole heart in that nation and someday become the president and show us the lead and show us what good governance looks like. If what you see is not good governance for you, are you following? But if you're there and your heart is not there, there's no way for you to come into a relationship and think that you have your own way, you have your own place. Where's the nation going? Guys, colonization has helped us to even talk in a way that most people can understand us. Do you know how this has increased your income, increased your quality of life? Help you to come to America. You don't have to struggle. You can get a job easily because you can talk, you can speak English. Do you know a blessing this has been to you? Let's not just only look at something and think everything about it is bad. Look at some of the good. What is good about it? What is good about the colonization? This is the thing. Then they would use assimilation. Okay, this is what colonization, assimilation. See, God's plan was to colonize earth, to make earth be like heaven. It was a colonization project. Many of you know that. Let thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. That is colonization in the Lord's Prayer. Did you know that? No, you didn't. Let thy kingdom come on earth. Let their will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That is colonization. Looking at a group of people that you can be able to bring in your system and help them be better. That is colonization. God looked at us and wanted to make the earth look like heaven. So he sent his son, Jesus Christ, sent his prophets, sent all of these individuals to come change our thinking, change our ways of life, change our language, change our behaviors so that we can have a better experience. Today, if you can speak English and you are heard around the world, is that a gift to you? Today, you can even go to the white people and present your problems in English and they understand what you're saying. Is that a gift to you? Let's use our brain now, young people, because we will not just hold the past. Like, what is good about it that we can use to move forward? Are you following? That is how we analyze situations and come up with conclusions. See, okay, then assimilation. They will use the word assimilation. Guys, assimilation is amazing. Why? Because assimilation is that process where you find unity. You find unity. That is, if I sit in this country and we have all different values, have different ways of living, guys, that is what the radical left are doing in the West. It's a pathetic culture that anybody does as they feel. No, but when we understand, even in your family, assimilation, when you have children, you assimilate them to a certain culture. That is why you have your tribes. You want to assimilate, you want us to come for tribal meetings or go to traditional groups. Why? You want to assimilate us into the culture. And you don't find anything wrong with that. Why don't you allow your children to choose whether they want to join that tradition, continue with the tradition, or let go of it because it's outdated and move on with their lives? You want to assimilate your children into that culture. And you tell them it's your tradition in this house. You guys have that strong energy to enforce that kind of belief in your children. And yet in a nation, you don't think that everyone should think and have certain values together so that the nation can move forward. When people are not assimilated, there's confusion, even in the company. When people are not assimilated to the passion, to the vision, to the culture of that company, there's problem. I hope we get to the place where the English and French is an official language, that we can create something out of it. But if you look at the whole strategy of Paul Biya, it would have been better if Cameroon speaks just one language. It would have been better. Because a lot comes when people are united like that. I don't have to sit and watch the television every day and I never understand what the journalist is saying, what the president is saying, because they're speaking in French and I don't understand French. Do you know how painful that is? I sat every day on CRTV in my home while I was in Cameroon and I didn't really understand what was going on. Should that bother you as citizens? Obviously it should. Should we take the interest to learn French? No, we didn't, because our parents were spreading this message around. So that's what I'm saying, guys. That's what I'm saying. You see how confusing and limiting that will be for you? When Mr. Liod and the rest of the artists in Cameroon realized this, what happened? They started making money. They started going international and platinum because they understood how to use the French with English and be able to produce something out of it. And I think every English-speaking Cameroonian should do so. To create a business, learn the French and the English and get into the system. This is what we have been given. So let's go back to that chart. So you realize that after France and Britain left, if you sum that all together, it's going to give you about 489 years. From 1961 to 2023, that is 62 years. And if you sum that all together, it's going to give you 551 years that we've existed as a people. Does that make sense? If you take that 551 years and you minus it with 45, which is the 45 years we live separately under Britain and France, you arrive at 506 years. From the time the Portuguese arrived the shores in Cameroon, we have lived together for 506 years. Our leaders want to take the history or the experience of 45 years and override 506 years of living together in that nation called Cameroon. What they are simply saying is they endorse colonization and they are willing to take that demarcation placed by the colonial powers, including the language that we are speaking. Because if the Germans stayed there, we would have all been speaking German. We would have all been speaking Germans if the Germans stayed there. You want to take this language, you want to take this demarcation created by the colonial power that you detest and fight your brother, your fellow black brother. That's how I see the story. That is how you see it. That's how you analyze facts. That is exactly what you're doing. That is how wicked we can be in our hearts and be myopic and blinded to facts. We've been together for 506 years from the recorded history of the Portuguese coming to Cameroon in 1472. That is the history of Cameroon. That is the history of the English and the French speaking Cameroonians. That is the history. Right there. Never forget this. Share this with everyone in that nation and let your children listen to this message. You value the demarcations placed by these colonial masters, and you go about talking about some factories that were closed, your institutions that were closed. Guys, when you guys come together, even in a marriage, your wife cannot say, I will have my own house and you have your own house. Realistically, it doesn't work like that. You guys try to find a way to live in one house. That is how you guys bond and love each other. You give your all into that marriage, of which we did not. Imagine Chris Anu said when he was still in high school, he was waiting for this opportunity and he is 54 years. Are you guys following this? Chris Anu, Sako, Dr.Ayaba, and every other leader that is promoting separation. Do you know about this history that we've lived together? You want to take the English that you're speaking, what we had from Britain for 45 years, and you override 506 years of experience that we've had together in that nation as black people. As black people. And afterwards, you will say you're Pan-Africanist. What kind of Pan-Africanist and you're fighting your fellow black brother? What kind of Pan-Africanist that you want to build on a foundation that was laid by a colonial master to the extent that you will declare war and have your people die? What kind of problem that you will still run to the same colonial master hoping that they help you and you cannot find a way to sit down with your brother and talk or create for yourself opportunity within that nation? What kind of Pan-Africanist are you? What kind of a black person are you? What kind of a brother or sister are you? That is the reality right there, guys. Take a look at it. Portuguese, 1472. Right down to where we find ourselves today. 555 years together. We want to prioritize the 45 years that we lived under Britain to override this entire existence of this group of people when we are fighting for African unity. We cannot tell the truth. You go in there, they tell you that this is impossible. You come out and lie to your children, lie to the people of English-speaking Cameroon to go die. This is sad. This is an abomination. This is confusion. This is the plan of the devil. From the time you were born, Chris Ano, you would have been fighting to integrate that nation. And look at the shared history that we've had together with French-speaking Cameroonians and find a way to reconcile our differences just like Canada has done. We cannot. We are too smart, right? Do you know why a lot of people that are too smart, they struggle in life? Because their wisdom prevents them from getting opportunities. You're too knowledgeable because of this too much sense in your head. If you look at it, it has prevented a lot of you guys from succeeding in business, in keeping a job, in building a life for yourself. Too much knowledge. That is why you see many smart people work for those who are dumb. Because why? The too much sense makes you too critical in a way that people cannot have you around. That is what it does for you. And so you struggle. Why? The people of Bamenda, you guys are too smart and you feel like you override the government and all of that. What happens? They will deprive you of every resource, every opportunity, and you will stay like that. And I was talking with a brother the other day and I'm like, do you realize that we are the highest group of people that oppose the government in the country? He said, yes. I'm like, so you know that? He said, yeah. I'm like, you see, that is why you will struggle. Everything will be shut down. When you realize that a group of people, presidents have used this strategy for years. Pobia is not the first. You see what I'm saying? Every president of any nation, when they realize that the people are rebellious, feel this kind of way towards them, what they will do is make sure that you limit their opportunities so that someday they don't rise and destroy you. Make sure that you cut it off because it is only through their pain that they will be able to realize themselves. You feed them, tomorrow you will realize that you were feeding a snake that will swallow you up. You restrict them. You do that even in your families. When you realize that there's a certain sibling that is rebellious, you don't just go and keep helping them and keep giving them money and trying to make them be strong. They will destroy you tomorrow. You limit the resources. You don't give to them. You guys do that in your families. You do that to some of your children. You do that to some of your cousins and siblings. Why? Because it is a strategy for your own life to preserve your own peace. Because when they don't have, the next thing they'll be looking after is food to eat. And in that process, they will not be worried about trying to kill you or take power from you. When they travel abroad and have money and have power and they have the slightest opportunity, what do? They want to overthrow the government. And so those governments, they know this. Even in America and everywhere else, they know how to treat people who feel a certain way towards the government or feel towards the country. They will always have systems to keep you away from resources and opportunities so that you don't become so powerful that you get up and destroy that nation. And as they do that over time, because of poverty and everything, you will fade away with your generation so that the new can be born and they will rise up and continue and be able to think different. That's what happens. Because if this generation don't catch up, God will just let most of them pass away, die in war so that those ideas are refined and then the new will be born. That's why the children of Israel, those who perished in the wilderness, they had to die because of the thoughts that they had in their head. They doubted God. They had to pass away and only their children went into the promised land. That is why I'm looking at this generation of people and I'm understanding God had to let some of you guys go through the pain in that country so that he can give birth to your children that will come in a time where we are vision driven and be able to create opportunities and think differently. But you guys sneaked in their minds very early and started poisoning their heads. And now they are caught up into your trap and they're acting the way they are doing. Are you guys following? It's a systematic strategy. Did you know all of this? This is what they do not want you to know. That Sako went everywhere and they told him, don't try this. Don't try this. It will not work. You don't have any allies. That is why they are going to the Biafrans today. Because every nation, see, bro, sis, if everyone around tells your leaders to stop something, don't do it, and they don't listen, that is a Haiti human being. They're just strong head. You see what I'm saying? Stay away from them. The reason why I stand up to tell you these things is because I love you so much. And I don't have any emotion with data. I tell you the facts based on what I see. This is the history of our nation. They will start telling you the history from 1960 or 1940 or 1945. That is when they will tell you the history of Cameroon. English people, where were you guys before then? Where were you guys before 1916? Can you tell your people that story as well? Where were you guys in 1884? Where were you guys? Where was Cameroon where was English speaking Cameroonians in 1884?
We say we came into a gentleman's agreement to get into this thing, even though the agreement was not signed. We have lived together for 56 years. This thing is not working for us. And then the lawyers and the teachers come up to present the demands that this is not working well. What's going on in the educational system? This is not what we bargained for. And the only reply we have is arrest all the leaders. And many are still in prison till today. They have been called terrorists. And many have been summarily executed. We don't know the right figure because when they pick you from your home, people think you're arrested, you're actually eliminated on the way.
So that's exactly when you realize that people have this kind of ideas within the nation. You understand what I'm saying? When you realize that people have this kind of ideas within the nation, the government look for ways to address those problems. And some of the people that emerge as leaders become victims of incidents like that. You see what I'm saying? There's a rule of law in Cameroon. It's not a perfect nation, but there's rule of law. So what I want us to understand at this juncture is that, guys, it is up to you. Listen to what I've said so far. Choose your destiny. Choose who you want to listen to. Choose the direction that you want to lead your life to. These folks can't help you. Their ideas are not working. They are operating from their own personal hurts and pain in life. They are operating from conditioning, mental conditioning. They picked up Chris Ano at a very young age and destroyed his mind. And he's a product of that. They picked up Sako at a very young age and destroyed Dr.Ayaba. They destroyed their minds with these ideas from a very young age. Some of the people that they are talking about in their 80s right now, they destroyed them. They are a product of that destruction and they are transferring it to you. It's time for you guys to have mercy even on them, but detach yourself from them so that you can be able to build a compelling future for yourself. Detach yourself from anyone who is resentful, has hate in their heart, has this kind of bitterness and pain. You can smell it when they talk. You can smell it when they speak. You can smell it. They cannot hide it, that this person is struggling from some pain in their hearts in the past and is deeper than what you see. Detach yourself from them. Only associate with the good and those who bring you glad tidings. That is the association you should keep if you want to be prosperous and successful in life. And after listening to what I've said, it is time for you to say, I am going to choose a different path. Because only the few that grasp this message will stand out from the pack. And that is why many people are broke and very few people are rich and many people are broke. Why? Because many people will always follow the wrong direction. It is evident out here. Many people will always follow the wrong direction. That is why many people are broke. Many people will always choose the crowd. That's why you see life turns out for them the way they do. The few that decide to reason for themselves. The worst thing these people don't want from you is to reason. If you reason, you will not follow any of these tracks or follow this kind of direction that they are paving from you. They come up every day and try to create new strategies. If you can reason, you are dangerous. If you can think for yourself, you're dangerous. They might think they are reasoning for themselves. They are not. They have been conditioned from a very young age. You can hear Chris Ano saying that. He has been conditioned. He's not thinking for himself. He's thinking from the echo chamber of that whole Ambazonian narrative that started way back in high school. He's not thinking for himself. I went through similar doctrine. I was conditioned like him. But why I had to study, come out and really realize what is walking around the world and how people are really changing the world and really changing the world. And my whole idea about these things begin to change. And I'm like, we're looking for sustainable solutions here. We don't just want to play the politics. We want change that will last. Our children come after us and they see the light and they become better. And they look at a white man in their eyes and talk with them like friends and propose their own ideas, not talk with them because you want to prove. No, because you are able now to talk in a way that you present your ideas persuasively to let them know I believe in my ideas. The eyes are the windows to the heart, and you can talk to them and look at them in the eyes and they know you're real. You're not some phony and you believe in what you say. And then you guys can go into business. And then you will have something to come back with you for your people if you really love them. Look at how I saw just the way you sat down there and you were talking to that young man. It's amazing to see your posture. But when you come in front of your people, you want to be the hero. You want to be the kind of person that will threaten them. I expect that friendliness, that compassion when you come around your people. The same kind of way you feel when you're around the white folk, be that way in front of your people. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, guys, let's listen, because that was in 2018, right? He went and got all of this information, did not disclose it to the people and help them go to the right direction. There's a lot that has been happening. I don't want to go into that, but this is where we find ourselves today. And listen, this is recently, maybe 7 months ago, since 2018, he heard that message. He knew what was up. He knew from the meetings that they went to, but they did not give up. Now they're trying to create ID cards to tell you that if you have that ID card, you are a member of Ambazonia, and so you can show that ID card and they will validate that ID card. Just go on Google and put Ambazonia and see what pops up. It's not recognized. The same thing they told him in 2018. That is the status of Ambazonia today before the war. And they have even thought about us as a terrorist group because of the narrative that he believed that if we kill enough people, the world will sympathize with us. And because of that, now they will come to our aid and look into our problem. It's interesting. It's really interesting how our people think. It's interesting how these leaders think. It's fascinating. See, guys, if there is a brick wall, it doesn't matter how hard you hit your head on that brick wall, you won't find your way through. Just go meet the concrete and keep hitting and see. It's your head that will hurt and not that wall. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like seeing a brick wall, I repeat again, and you go and you keep hitting your head on that brick wall, thinking that wall will fall down someday. It is your head that will be hurt in the process.
Annexation is a crime, just like colonialism, just like slavery, just like apartheid. They are crimes against humanity. So you don't resolve this by trying to give it some legal coloration.
Okay. So he's said it, and I'll wrap up here. Annexation is a crime and all of that. You see, guys, as people evolve, what they used to do in the past, they will label it a crime today. But see, you speak English. You're a product of that annexation, of that marginalization or colonization. You are a product of it. The language you speak, how you dress most of the time is based on that past. Is there anything you got out of it? The white people decided at some point, because of industrial revolution and some of our soldiers or our people fighting to say we want independence, and they gave us independence. But the reality is most nations that are smart, when they have independence, they still keep a close relationship with their colonial masters because they help you to grow. Because why? They brought the system that you're operating on, which is a good thing. And that is why I see the colonization from that perspective is a good thing. But if it's enslaving people and punishing people, I don't think it's a good thing. But trying to assimilate people to be better, or that you guys should be united, it's better you guys be in a nation where you guys are united and in one idea or one thought, and you are going to a direction, than having people divided and have multiple good ideas. Nothing get done. Bro, it's better that you guys are united on one bad idea even. The nation should be united on one common vision. You see, that's why. Come on, okay. For example, you guys have your ADF and every camp within the Ambazonia. Do you see how divided you are? Do you see how it's easy for you to be crushed by the enemy? But even if you think the French-speaking Cameroonians, the army is corrupt, but they are united. So even if you're united on something evil, it is easy for them to penetrate you that is divided on something good. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I'm putting on the ground? So this is the reality, guys. It's better to be united even on something bad as you label them than to be divided on something good. Nothing gets done. Everybody's talked. Do you see where you guys find yourselves? That's the reality. So that is where these nations find themselves today. Colonization doesn't really benefit them, or slave trade doesn't benefit them anymore. You see what I'm saying? There's industrialization. They don't really need you. You might be looking at your resources. No, they're making electric cars right now. They're looking for ways to use fossil fuel. The world is changing. Those resources will be obsolete very soon. Instead of cooperating with the world and associating with other nations so that you can make use of those resources, when people are using them now, very soon people will not need those resources that you think under your ground has too much value. In America right here, the dollar is not based on the gold standard anymore. You see what I'm saying? The dollar is based on the confidence of the United States of America. So if you have gold under the ground and you're trying to use that to measure against the dollar, it doesn't work anymore. Do you see how things are changing? Very soon, those resources will not be needed. And so if you're not learning and trying to invest in your people, instead of looking at resource, invest in your people, invest in their mind, invest in strategy, invest in businesses, be investing in the idea that resources will save you. That is very myopic in this dispensation. And I think we're better than that. So this is my call to action. Every young person in English-speaking Cameroon, the entire nation of Cameroon, if you're 40 and below, join this movement. We have this initiative right now, is the Cameroon Sustainable Development Project. The Cameroon Sustainable Development Project is all about us embarking on economic transformation, changing old systems in our nation and introducing new ones. We will take the lead. It is systematic. We are not going to fight anybody. Nobody has to die. We will cooperate with those who cooperate with us. We'll cooperate with the government. We'll cooperate with English-speaking Cameroonians that are well-to-do and know what is going on. We will cooperate with everybody. And as you know, my number is right there on the screen and is below this message. Email me or send me a WhatsApp text. Let's connect. And I want to let you know we are changing the world. We are changing Cameroon, and it is going to be a transformation that the entire world is going to be affected. And I just want to let you know, we, the young people, we are rising up to take initiative. We are rising up to implement change. We are rising up to take action. We are rising up to let go of the past. We are rising up to face the reality on the ground. We are rising up to be different. All your old ways that you've had in your head for over 40 years. No, people don't have to die for another person. That kind of a narrative is wrong, that somebody has to die for someone. No, people have to sacrifice their lives for someone. Hell no. People always thought like that. It doesn't have to be that way. The only person that has sacrificed his life for everybody is Jesus. We don't have to do that. All the wars that have been fought in history is wrong. I said it and I repeat it again. All the wars that have been fought in history is wrong, and I don't endorse any of it. There's only one person that died for us, is Jesus. You don't have to die for anybody. You get what I'm saying? Because people cannot sit down and talk. You see how Trump came to power? People don't have to die to get stuff. He can communicate. Sit presidents on the ground and they have a conversation and they resolve their differences. That is strategy. That is what God intends for us. That we are able to communicate and reconcile our differences and move on. No one has to die for anyone. No one has to die for you to get peace. No one has to die for you to get Ambazonia. Think is because you don't want to use your brain. How can you get the Ambazonia without anyone dying? That is a stretch, right? You cannot even think to that dimension. Stop this. Stop it. Stop it. All right. If you like this video, you're going to like this other episode, and you can watch it by clicking right here.